Our next speaker will be Sahid Agumbiade, and he will be taking us on human enhancement and communitarian ethics, rethinking individual autonomy and collective responsibility in Africa. So please, Sahid Agumbiade, are you present here? Sahid, are you here? I can't see his name, although I'm not sure what name he signed in with. Sahid is not there. So we take the next person, and that will be Peter. Peter tried to share his slides sometime. Peter Osuji. So please, Peter Osuji, are you here? I can see your name. So please, in place of the Sahid, please make your presentation.
Okay, let me try sharing.
You have 15 minutes, please.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Not yet.
Okay, let me see. How about now?
Yes, it's showing now.
It's showing, okay. Wait. Should do this.
It is still not showing.
I think he broadcasted the maybe not the actual one that he has. Okay, it's showing now, if that is the correct one.
Okay. So my topic is African relationality and human dignity as an ethical approach to human bioenhancement. Actually, I'm presenting on behalf of the other two, Father John Mark Ogu and Roderick Williams. I'm glad to be in your midst this morning, early morning for us. And I was there, the section before this one. It was a heated discussion, an interesting discussion. So, introduction. There are various perspectives to this bioenhancement. We have opponents who argue from the potential benefit of bioenhancement. And then you have opponents who argue from a social, religious, cultural perspective. Then you have the middle group that are restrictive in their arguments and do not oppose bioenhancement, rather argue for limits of activities of bioenhancement based on justice and safety. However, these groups fail to capture and emphasize the relational and social nature of human beings. Human beings are not just rational beings as proposed by some scholars. They are also social, relational, interdependent, and cultural beings. Hence, this paper proposes a relational ethical approach to evaluating human bioenhancement, one that is grounded in communal values, cultural heritage, and relational responsibilities. Bioenhancement and relational responsibility. From an African worldview, persons are defined both independently and communally. That is, they are defined in relation to themselves, to their society, and to their creative spirit. Chi among the Igbos, Okra in Asante, Ori in Yoruba, Ose in Fonds, which embodies their destiny. The African ethos presupposes an existing community into which individuals are born. Aristotle asserts that man, that's human being, is by nature a socio-political animal, and that is impossible for him to live outside society. So, like Aristotle, Africans believe that community is natural to human beings, and that community is a necessary condition for human existence. Human beings are born into human society or a cultural community. Community is founded on the belief of an intrinsic and enduring relationship amongst its members. There is in this community an organic relationship between the individual members. As Kwame Jekie has noted, the individual helps to define himself or herself and the community as well. The individual is both an autonomous and a communal being. Likewise, in most African cultures and ethnicities, personhood, human dignity, the sanctity of life, freedom, and autonomy are relational concepts. So it is important to consider the relational aspect of human beings in the discourse on bioenhancement. Additionally, as observed by Viertan, although technology and development have many benefits to offer, situating them within the future of South Asian and African perspectives necessitates linking them to cosmological relationships with God, culture, human relationships, and nature. This is also applicable to bioenhancement. Despite its futuristic benefits, there is a need to situate it within the context of socio-cultural and socio-religious perspectives. This is because in many African societies, relational autonomy and responsibility are practiced in contrast to the Euro-American emphasis on individual autonomy and responsibility. The relational nature of human beings brings about the relational perspective of bioenhancement because, as noted earlier, no human being lives in isolation. Therefore, some individual actions affect other members of the society, like families, friends, and the society in which we live and work. Moreover, Africans believe that a child or a person does not belong to their family alone, but belongs to the community. Consequently, the individual and the community owe each other some responsibilities. In this case, both proponents and opponents of bioenhancement should consider the relational nature of human beings on the basis that individuals are not just products of science and technology, but are products of families and communities. This is obviously pertinent to Africa, where the cumulative relational life in the society means that an individual's image will depend rather crucially upon the extent to which his or her actions benefit others rather than himself or herself. Personhood. Additionally, in the African context, personhood is understood relationally and also implies a sense of relational responsibility. Thus, it is described as a means of establishing one's humanity through others, following established lines of responsibilities and obligations. Hence, the African spirit of community is deeply rooted in the nuclear family, extended family, kindred, clan, village, and society. The community spirit in African culture fosters the concept of relational responsibility among individuals, prompting them to consider the impact of their actions on the broader community. This is because only in terms of other people does the individual become conscious of his own being, his or her own duties, his or her privileges and responsibilities towards himself or herself and towards other people. The idea is that people in some cases realize that although they are autonomous individuals, their autonomy is intertwined with others, which calls for certain responsibilities to the people and society. This is because human beings owe their lives to others due to the relationships they share. Again, discussions on bioenhancement fail to acknowledge these relational responsibilities that bioenhancement, like other technological innovations, does not develop and operate in isolation. It is cultural and socially embedded, influenced by the cultural, social, economic, and political and religious conditions of society.
Peter, you have 3 minutes, please.
Oh, okay. Human dignity. Further, the concept of human dignity in African context is not solely understood from the perspective of individual autonomy and responsibility. It is understood multidimensionally in terms of vital or life force, communal relations, and the notion of normative personhood. These properties or dimensions of human dignity have at their base interactions and relationships with other people. Hence, human dignity does not exist in isolation from community. It is worthiness of respect directly tied to an individual's moral character and active participation in community. Relational autonomy. Autonomy is understood as a relational concept from feminist ethics of care as well as from African perspective. The understanding is that we develop and nurture our autonomy in relationships with other people, such as family members, friends, teachers, community members. Likewise, we exercise our autonomy in relationship with others. This suggests among ways of looking at individual responsibility that is particularly relevant in complex moral issues affecting the broader society. It suggests that there are no independent selves, rather, we are each constituted by others. It also suggests that human life is not lived in isolation, but rather is meant to be shared. It further suggests that restricting bioenhancement within the ambit of individual autonomy and responsibility overlooks the broader socio-relational context in which individuals live and work. Hence, relational responsibility will bring together the interconnectedness of the individual and the broader societal spectrum in which they exist. Therefore, the focus here is not on responsibilities as individual choices, but as moral obligations that arise from relational ties. Conclusion. No doubt, bioenhancement has some potential benefit for Africans, especially in areas of health and poverty alleviation, if properly articulated and applied with consideration for time, space, ethics, culture, religion, and societal orientations. The bioenhancement discourse is to incorporate African perspectives and values, the relational and communal life of the people, bearing in mind that the concept of human dignity, personhood, autonomy, life, and sanctity of life are relational concepts, connecting the living with the gods, the dead, the ancestors, and even the environment in relationships of interdependence and interconnection. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for another perspective that also brings together again the question that we started with today. Please hold your questions, don't forget it, note it down. We will come shortly to it after our last speaker now.